we keep queens in balance. I'm your host, Renee Winters. Welcome everyone to Keeping Queens in Balance, another podcast here, and I'm so excited. I'm so very excited to have this very special young lady with me, a queen in herself, Darlene Niara Arrington. So welcome to Keeping Queens in Balance this morning.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, definitely. So before we get started, I want to share your bio with everyone because there's a lot going on there, and you've done so much since you've been around on this earth. So let's see. Darlene is an acclaimed choreographer, author, certified holistic health coach, entrepreneur, and actress residing in New York City. She has bachelor's degrees in both dance and choreography and exercise and physiology. She integrates her studies with a holistic approach for clients worldwide. Her most recent successes include landing a featured role in the upcoming movie Farewell Amor, directed by Ekwa Masanji, landing her first international tour, and booking a principal role in her first off-Broadway musical titled A Nation's Grooves, A People History of Hip Hop, directed by Kambi Gathashak. She has graced the stages of Lincoln Center, the New Victory Theater, and so many places. Oh my goodness. She's published her first book in 2017, Mask Off, How to Lead by Example Without Perfection. The book reads as a self-help guide to help young people and artists alike. And I thought that was such an amazing book that you put out there. And that's, one of the first things that you stepped out on there. And I thought it was just absolutely amazing. It affected so many people, but we'll definitely talk about that. And in 2009, she founded Niara Army Fit LLC, which is a company dedicated to providing resources and fitness classes, both virtually and in person, to individuals looking to improve their health and longevity. So once again, welcome. So happy to have you here today. And, for me, it's more than just having another guest here, but I know what a lot of our listeners and followers do not know is that I've known you since you were a little girl.
Yes, definitely.
So that's what's so amazing, and seeing you grow up, and seeing you touch lives and seeing you be your very best. So I know I shared, some of your bio already, but if there's anything you want to add to kind of fill in any of the spots that I may have missed, that kind of led you to where you are as this young woman in front of me.
Yeah, of course. First off, thank you so much for having me. I think platforms like this are so necessary and needed. And, with the climate of the world and state of the world that we're in right now, it's so beneficial, I think, for so many individuals to just dive into conversations like this. So we're home.
Yes.
Some of us are still virtual. Some of us have different schedules, but it's like, why not feed our mind and our bodies with information that's going to help us? So thank you so much for having this platform.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, a little bit about me. I mean, you can tell from like the degrees and everything that I've done. I mean, since I was a child, I loved movement, whether that was dance, exercising, just moving around and playing in sandboxes. And what I've come to realize is that, although I've had all of those in my background very innately, I didn't really learn until later on that I actually needed the business mindset, or at least the wherewithal to be able to advocate for myself in these spaces too. And I didn't really get to learn that until I got into the really thick of the performance world. So we're talking, the off-Broadway and commercial industry, doing music videos, where I started to realize like, oh, it's way more than just doing a pirouette, or it's way more than just doing a backflip on stage. It's like, how do you begin to advocate for yourself, especially when you're an up and coming dancer like I was in my teens, and I didn't have representation.
Right.
Now, as an artist, you have things like agents and managers and people that will advocate for you. But until you get to that space, it's so important to inform yourself as a performer how to go about these things. So one, that you're not taken advantage of, and two, you know how to best represent yourself by yourself if you
definitely.
yourself.
Definitely, definitely. So that's very important. Some very important points there, and that was part of your journey to to where you are now. And I know you do a lot with fitness, and you really touch a lot of women's lives in terms of sharing your passion for it. But what made you gravitate to that? Because I knew you were a dancer. I knew you were involved in dance school out here. That you were very involved in. But what actually led you to that fitness aspect and then wanting to, of course, share it with other women?
Oh yeah. So this story is pretty and I'll keep it concise, but I'll keep it juicy, I'll keep it interesting.
Yeah, our listeners love juicy too.
Yes. So that dance school, that performing arts school I actually went to, I is where I actually found my passion for exercise physiology, anatomy and physiology. And it came by way of injury, actually.
Oh, wow, wow, okay.
I was a part of that conservatory for about 6 years, and this was
Hmm.
like right after college.
Right,
And I knew that I wanted to go back to New York. I went to school in Virginia. I knew I wanted to get back into New York because I just wanted to perform. That's all I
right,
really cared about at that point.
right.
I wanted to just get my hands and my feet wet in the industry.
Yes.
And in the midst of all of that, I was training. So our training consisted of running anywhere from 3 to 4 miles a day,
Hmm.
constantly. And we'll talk a little bit about it later, but like this overtraining of the body where it was like, it was so much going on. I mean, 5 to 6 hour rehearsals after that run,
Yes.
then going home, waking up, doing a 9 to 5 job, and doing the same thing in the night, you know,
Wow.
right after. So I was just completely burned out without knowing. And I
Right.
ended up getting stress fractures in my fifth metatarsal. So that's like right on the outside of the foot.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it happened consecutively. So it was 1 year where I broke my left foot first. And then literally 6 months later, it was the right foot. Same.
Wow. Wow. So you have to be, that has to be telling you something right then. You listen to your body. We know we have to listen to our body. So at that point, you're like, wow, what does this mean for me? What is this saying about what I'm currently doing?
Absolutely. Something's not right because
Yes.
physically on the outside, you can see this very healthy girl,
Hmm.
aesthetically, oh, you have this six pack, you have
Yeah.
all going on for you, but inside your body is breaking down, like
Right.
really,
Right.
really, just deteriorating,
Yes.
overnight. And that's what really led me to one, study anatomy and physiology, really get my mind right around and wrap my mind around how I can be there for my body both internally, but then show up and still do my training. I really
Right.
cared about dance. I'm passionate about it, but I also wanted to make sure that I was around long enough to be able to do it and actually
Exactly.
career and not have to break my body down in the midst of all of that, right?
Right. Right. Right.
It is there when I decided in 2016 to enroll in a program through the Institute for Integrative Nutrition.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
it is there where I learned how foods holistically really guide and help the body to be able to restore itself and to repair
Yes.
itself outside
Yes.
of doing anything physical.
Right, the power of food, without a doubt, without a doubt. So that's good. So you, at that point in your life, you kind of brought that other piece to it, and that was able to help you sustain those other aspects, the dancing, the fitness, and so forth, right? And I know the school that you went to. I also, went there as well. We talked about that before too, and it really does give you such a great holistic approach in terms of how food is everything. Food is medicine. Food is life. Food is and we have to look at it in that way. Um, Besides the dance and the fitness, is there anything else that you use to help balance you as a woman? Is there anything else that you use to
Oh,
help?
definitely, definitely. I go to meditation very, very often, and
Mhm.
that is something that is very dear to my schedule as of right now.
Right.
Especially, I'm a mom to be.
Yes, yeah,
Yes.
congratulations. I'm so, so very happy for you. I know you, how far along now are you?
I'm
You
seven
look
months.
You're looking great. You're looking absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I know, you're doing a lot of on your Instagram feed that you're also putting out information out there for pregnant women as well, for mommies to be. And I think that's excellent, because a lot of times when they hit that stage of life, you say, well, I'm gonna just do this. I'm gonna just that. I can't exercise. I can't do this. So it's nice that you're actually feeding them that with that mindset as well. But I'm sorry, go ahead. So we were saying how the Institute of Integrative Nutrition kind of helped you to kind of balance things in your life.
Yes, and it helped me balance things. And my partner is he's very pro the meditation. We actually
Mm-hmm.
met by way of meditation and veganism,
Mm.
all of
Oh,
these
that's nice.
aspects. And it wasn't really until I left the conservatory that I was a part of, where I started to realize that I had kind of tapped out of my own intuition for a little while I was there.
Yes.
Certain, yeah, in certain spaces, I do feel like conservatories, and especially if you're in the dance industry or the music industry, things that can become very, uh, for lack of a better term right now, cultish, or
Yes.
just not allowing you to be able to exercise your own opinions and your own thoughts and your own wherewithal and your own direction. And I felt for many years that my intuition was cut off, which is why I ended up writing my book, Mask Off, How
Mm-hmm.
to Lead by Example Without Perfection. And in
Yes.
there, I talk about refining your intuition, finding spaces to be able to meditate so that you can hear your own thoughts. So
Yep.
meditation for me is a huge factor in my decision making a lot of the time. Sometimes I am overwhelmed with the different decisions and different avenues that we can take in our lives.
Yes.
Sometimes
Yes.
I just come to myself and I say, you know what, Darlene, you don't have to make a decision right now. What you can do is sit with yourself and hear your
Mm-hmm.
own thoughts. What is your body
Yes.
saying? What is your mind saying? What is your intuition saying? So I would say that that is one of the number one tools that I have to use. And yeah, absolutely.
Oh my goodness, darling, that's such a great point there. One, losing our own intuition. I think that, in our society and what we do on a daily basis often takes away, and it just doesn't have to be dance. It doesn't have to be, whatever we're involved in, but a variety of things in our society take
Right.
away our natural intuition. And I
Absolutely.
found that same connection with meditation as well. After, and I've spoken about this before, and some of my with my other guests too. That throughout the pandemic, when all that was going on, we had the social injustices, we had the political climate. I was lost. I was like, I don't know what to do. I couldn't find balance. I couldn't do anything until I found meditation. And I really think that within that silence, you get such clarity.
Yes.
And that's what this came from. Even this podcast here, that Keeping Queens in Balance, came out of a meditation session for myself.
That is amazing.
Isn't
Wow.
it? Yes, yes. So,
Congratulations, because that's huge. That's powerful. You're really tapping into your divine self and what it is saying. That's amazing.
yes, it's so important. It's so important. And I'm loving that that's what you found in there too. And that's one of the messages that I want other women to understand. That these are the tools that we can use on a daily basis to help us find our balance.
Absolutely.
What would you tell other women of color who were thinking about, and I'm not sure which one you want to talk about, either the meditation aspect or the fitness aspect? What would you tell to these women of color who are thinking about stepping into those areas? You can touch upon each one if you like, or you can just do one that really, you really want to focus on.
I'll do both. I'll start with the meditation. So when I speak to my clients and virtually and my in-person clients, a lot of them are often a little shy when it comes to or intimidated by meditation. A lot of times
Mhm.
I think when you expose meditation to someone or you mention it, it can come off very overwhelming because like, well, where do I start? I don't know how to meditate.
That's
With
right, right.
with
Yes.
all the candles, do I have to set myself up? No, absolutely.
Right.
I mean, meditation can just be you taking moments of silence to breathe and just
Yes,
relax
yes, yes, yes.
and to quiet the noise around you, right? And so, what I would offer up to anybody that is looking to start a meditation, go as short as 5 minutes a day of just silence, where you're with yourself and you're taking deep breaths that are intentional, that
Mhm.
don't feel overwhelming. And if you find yourself venturing off into thoughts that you shouldn't be thinking about, come back to breath. That's what I tell myself when I get
Yes.
distracted. Meditation is not about being perfect. It's about being understanding of yourself and figuring out what it is that your body needs in that moment to reset. So
Yes.
that's
Yes.
what I
Oh,
offer.
love it. Love it. Yes. Being in that moment without a doubt, right? And coming back to the breath. Yes. Yes, definitely. And what about fitness? What about fitness, Darlene? If people want to start out on some fitness program, what would you say to them about, especially, women of color who thankfully are definitely moving toward those areas more now, but some pointers in terms of getting started?
Yeah, absolutely. So, especially in our community, in the Black community, I feel like it is imperative that we start to take a real good look, a hard look at our generational history,
Yeah.
our generational history in this country, our generational history in health practices, things that have been not only forced upon us. I mean, when we talk about things like soul food and where that comes from in that history.
Mhm.
There's a really great documentary on Netflix, High on the Hog, and
Yes, it's so good, right?
it's
What?
so
Yes.
good. That first of all, that docu series was amazing because
Yes.
I cried, I laughed, I smiled. It gives you such a love for self and a love for our people,
Oh,
but
yes,
it
yes.
also allows us to understand why some things are the way they are.
Without a doubt.
And the first thing it's two layered for me as a health coach. And this is what I like to explain to my clients as well. You have to find your inner purpose as to why you want to, whether it's lose weight, just get healthier. Some people don't care about the scale. I don't care about the scale so
Hmm.
much. Um, and then the other part of it is like, what are you gonna do to sustain it? Because it's one thing to have your purpose and your why,
Yes.
but another thing is that I find that people sometimes sign up for programs that they're not interested in. It's not fun for them. So
Right.
if something isn't fun, you're not going to do it
You're
for
not
the
gonna right. A very short period of time. And you're like,
right.
I'm good, and you're out. Yeah, exactly.
And for me, gone are the days where, in order for you to lose weight or to strength train or to feel healthier, you got to be by a squat rack or those
Right,
things
right,
I love and I crave it. But there's yoga, there's skating, there's tai chi, there's capoeira,
right.
there's so many, there's swimming, there's so many different, I think, avenues to really navigate. And I think
Hmm.
people need to explore what they like before they denounce it and before they negate it and say, well, I don't want
I
to do
love that. I love that. I
that.
love that. Yes, I love it. I love it. That's so true. That's so true that before they kind of just say no to it, step into it, lean into it a little bit.
Lean into it a little bit and be open to the possibility that you might actually like something and want to stick with it. And going back to our generational health when it comes to African Americans and people from the African diaspora, is that we just need to do better.
Yes.
We have to do better. There's so many movements around, and then that necessarily doesn't mean you have to be vegan. It doesn't
Hmm.
necessarily mean
Hmm.
that you have to, be 100% plant based.
Right.
But do the research.
Hmm.
We can't just rely on high school textbooks and college, knowledge, because it's very limited. What we have to
And wait, let me just because
right,
in the high school textbooks they want to take us out of it anyway. Let's talk
right,
about that. They don't even want to say that
right,
it existed. Let's talk about that. So don't
right,
rely on something like that, right? It's
right.
not. They don't want us to be in there.
Yeah, exactly. We're in a place right now where I feel like knowledge is ubiquitous. It's everywhere. Knowledge is power, it's infinite, but
Yes.
we have to be the ones to take that step to be
Yes.
consistent and disciplined in
Yes.
educating ourselves on our health.
Yes. Without a doubt. Very true. Some great points there. Definitely some dropping some knowledge. Dropping some knowledge. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So listen, we look at you here, and I've seen you grow. What challenges have you overcome as a woman of color? What challenges have you overcome as a woman of color in your journey?
I loved this question. When I saw it on there, I said, "Oh, I got some things." So, I wrote my book as I'm a twin, and
Yes,
my
yes,
twin
you are.
sister
Yes,
is a few shades lighter than I am. So the
right.
whole colorism in my family,
Oh my gosh.
huge, a
Yes.
huge challenge or something that I've had to accept, not only accept, but love in myself. I love
Right.
the skin that I'm
Oh,
in.
Oh,
I love who I am as a
yes,
queen. I love my melanated skin. But
yes.
if I could be honest, it took me a very long time to really
Mm,
just overcome the
yes,
stigma that society often gives people of color that are darker.
yes, yes.
For me, it was two-tier, I feel, because my first experience was, well, I'm a twin, and there's an automatic comparison. Well, who looks like this and who looks like that, and who's
Right,
heavier, who's lighter,
right,
that's the thing. So I grew up with that in my family,
right,
people that
right,
you feel like, and then you also grow up and you give those same people grace because you're like, well, they're not really coming from a place of love either.
right.
They in themselves. So
Yes,
therefore it's just
yes,
something that's been passed on to me, and now you're projecting that insecurity on me.
yes, 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 yes. But
So I had
that
to go
that
into
took
that.
a while. What? Let me tell you, that understanding of what you were just saying there and giving them grace, that takes a little time to get there.
That takes
You know,
time.
and for you to be able to reflect on that and know that that's where they're coming from. You know what I mean? That
Right.
it's because of their history, it's because of the things that they've been exposed to,
Right.
that now they're placing that on you. You know what I mean? It really doesn't have anything about you, individual, as a spirit, as an energy, as a loving being. It has nothing to do with that. It's more
Right.
about that other piece of history that they're placing there.
And
So
that took me traveling, that took me researching, that took me educating and loving myself and figuring out those tools. The other
yes.
the other tier of it was if I didn't get it from home, I got it in the dance industry.
Oh,
Because
right,
you
right.
got, if you don't, I mean, now we have flesh colored stockings, we have flesh colored bras and panties,
Yes,
and it's
yes,
very inclusive, but it wasn't always like that. If
right.
I was on a set of a whole bunch of, Caucasian dancers, and they're doing a light setting on the stage where they have to set the lights and the set design and everything. But when the light is projected on me, it doesn't look the same as it looks like on a fair skinned girl. Then they're all confused, they're flustered. They don't have a hairstylist to be able to do my hair.
What?
So that's why I've really had to educate myself and stand up for myself in those spaces to say, this is what I need. If you need me booked for this, if you want me as a talent, these are the things that I need. And I have it at no other exception.
Wow.
That took time.
Yes, yes. And
Yeah.
what helped you? What, besides you saying the travel and doing things, was that meditative practice or just, really digging within? What allowed you to get to that, to overcome that? I mean, because I think that so many of us have to deal with that in our society, unfortunately. But what allowed you to get to this wonderful point where you are now?
Outside of some of the failures and the ill intentions that I've had in the industry, I've also
Mhm.
been blessed and grateful to have really great mentors. And
Right.
one of my first mentors when I was growing up was Vanessa Baird Streeter, who
Hmm.
is the founder and the creator of the Vanette's Cultural Workshop.
Right.
And we talked. I grew up talking about Black excellence, having
Yes.
words around me in shades. We sang the national Black anthem. We had a whole pledge that we said about loving ourselves at the end of every rehearsal and dance class and dance space. And that really, I had to come back to self and remember where I came from. That's really what it was. I
Oh, that's
had to
beautiful.
expose myself to places and situations that actually revered my skin color and loved
Mm,
who I was. And
yes.
I surrounded myself. And that's what I realized too, is like, as you get older, when we're a child, you can't really control so much who you're around. If you don't like Uncle Timmy talking about your skin color, you still got to see him at Thanksgiving. You still got to
Right?
see those.
Right.
When
Right.
we get older, you read energy. Kids read energy very well, but they're
Yes.
not always in control of what spaces they can be in. But when
Yes.
you're an adult and you feel that energy, you're like, oh,
Yes.
I can make a decision right now to not have you in my life at all. It's like, if you're
Boom.
talking
Boom.
like this,
Yes.
push you around, and I'm gonna
Yes.
tell and back up because
Right.
I don't need that. So that's what I
That's
would say. I think your question was alluding around to like, where did I get to? How did I get to?
yes.
Reach
Yes. Yes.
myself. I started really checking the energies around me to make
Oh,
sure that everything that was around me was productive, positive, and filled with love, because that is all I'm trying to bring
mm,
out. Yeah.
love it. Love it. Mm. Love that. I love that. That's so true. That's beautiful. And one of the things you just pointed out, I was going to jump in there. Um, that and it actually ties into our next question related to young people, a young women of color who's facing challenges, and what message would you share with them? Because I was thinking that you said that when you were younger, you were, part of a lot of the discussion that you had with some of the mentors was about Black excellence, learning the national Black anthem. Some of these young folks, you say national Black anthem, they look at you like, what? And I'm like, lift every voice, lift every, they're like, mm-mm. I was like, okay, not good. Not good. These are things that our young people must know, must have, because it just builds on our foundation as a
Right.
people. You know what I mean?
Right next to the ABCs. This should be one of the first songs.
Yes, 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 yes. So with that being said, what message would you like to give to our young women out there, our young women of color? What do they need to know, as they move forward in this crazy world that we're, talking about, banning this, doing that, changing that, taking stuff out of our history books, critical race theory, this, that. What would you say? What do you say to our young girls that are stepping out there?
Yeah, I would definitely, offer up. The first thing that comes to mind for me is to not limit yourself, to, don't take the bare minimum as the final answer. Don't take the bare minimum as the final say, because
Mm-hmm.
the bare minimum right now is becoming, I mean, it was lackluster before, but if you're trying to, if educators are now trying to, or the government is trying to pull out certain, things and knowledge out of our textbooks, I mean, it
Yes.
would take even more discipline to be able to find that stuff on your own and find that knowledge and that wisdom. And you have to get off of your block. That's and what I feel,
Mm,
what I mean by
mm.
that is there's a bias called Ludic Fallacy, where we feel like, well, if I step out on my stoop or if I step out on my porch, this is the world view and this is how the world works. So if
What
I
was it called again? Can you say that one more time?
Ludic fallacy. So you have
Okay.
it's a
Mhm.
bias where you believe that the world operates in how you see it.
Yes.
And that's just not the case, because
Mm.
what's happening, you'll grow older and you'll realize you'll be in other spaces where people have had way more different perspectives than you have.
Yes.
That may be actually a little broader because they've traveled, or they decided to go overseas for school, whatever the case may be.
Right.
What I would offer up is to not limit yourself. Don't limit yourself
Mm.
to your block. There's a lot more going on out there in the world than just what you see, in your frame and in your existence.
Yes. Good. No, I think that's so true. And I know we often think about limiting, just saying, well, I'm going to try XYZ, or I'm going to step out that. But what you're saying too is that greater experience, not just saying, I'm going to try dance because I don't want to limit myself. No, it's about stepping out into the world and,
Yes,
and broadening your entire view. You
right,
know, that's amazing. That's so important. Those are the things that allow you to feel better as a young woman, as a Black woman, as a queen, as we move forward. You know what I mean? Because it only builds upon the foundation that you currently have, or
right.
may have to lay the foundation if there was no foundation even laid before.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right? Oh my goodness, for sure, for sure. I love that. I love that. So, can you share with me one word that describes what, okay, we can say fitness or meditation, you just pick one or both, one word that it's what is done for you as a queen. What has it done for you?
Hmm. Two words come to mind, but
Yes,
they're
throw them
kind
out, throw
of
them out.
confusing. Anyway, transformation comes to mind for me. It's transformed,
Mm.
elevated me. And by elevation, it's in no way to say that I'm better or higher than anyone else.
Right, right.
We're all, I think, on a journey of self-discovery to getting to our highest self, whatever that looks like for us
Hmm.
in this lifetime.
Right.
And I would say that meditation has done that for me, because in the moments where I used to have panic attacks before going on
Mm.
stage, or if a relative was sick in the hospital, anxiety attacks, like all these things would just plague my body. And
Right.
to have control over that, and or at least to know how, to tap into that power, to be able to calm myself and to be able
Yes.
to turn to self, is so powerful. that I feel like if everyone had that opportunity or that tool or that thing that they were able to tap into to really help them through these times,
Mm-hmm.
the challenges are here to change us and to lift us up. But if we don't know how to face those challenges head on when they come, I mean, it can destroy us. If
Say
our
that again. Say that again for my listeners. What did you say about the challenges? Say that again.
the challenges are there to help us grow and to help us
Yeah.
evolve
And lift us up,
and
right?
lift us up.
Yes,
And
yes.
if we're not ready or if we don't have the tools to be able to handle those challenges when they come, it can destroy us. It will destroy
Yes.
us.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. And I know you've talked a little bit about you shared about your journeys and so forth. So what's the biggest lesson or biggest takeaway, that you've acquired through your journey? What's the biggest lesson that you've acquired?
Everything that I have, and this comes with my affirmations too and my meditations every time I'm done. Everything you have and everything you need is already within you.
Oh,
It is
yes, it is.
already in you.
Yes, it
So
is. It's
whether that is, if you can visualize yourself being a singer, if you can visualize yourself being the number one trainer in your state, whatever the
Yeah.
case may be, the number one lawyer, you already have the tools and the power to tap into that. You
Oh,
don't,
without a doubt.
yeah.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Um, so one of my other questions, I'm almost coming to an end here, and I'm so upset because this has been such a great conversation.
We got to do a
Uh,
part two.
yeah, definitely. How can women of color continue to progress and overcome? And I know you've had a message for the young women to not limit themselves, but is there an overview, or is there something that you can speak to for women of color in general in terms of how we can continue to progress and overcome the struggles that we face on a daily basis? Being having to be so strong, having to be, the matriarch a lot of times. Yeah, what would you suggest? And you're becoming a mommy yourself, all those different facets, and that brings something different to your life too. So share with me.
Right. It's like you're reading my mind because I was going to talk about the whole matriarch and how,
Yeah.
Black women, we are seen as already stronger or we can handle these problems. And so therefore these traumas don't, necessarily have to go away because we can handle it. We're Black women. We could do it.
Yes.
We're
Yes.
used to this. Right. And so
Yes.
what I want to say is that, and maybe I'll get some flack for saying it or some
Go,
disagreement,
girl, just go. Just do your thing.
whatever for the
Say,
listeners.
what?
But mom to be, and also just to be transparent, my fiance has 2 sons from a previous marriage, and so
Yes.
I feel very grateful and blessed to have had that that share or that experience and that challenge in the very beginning because it allowed me to step into motherhood in a way that I haven't experienced before. And to circle back around to your question, we can't forget who we are. So whether you're a mother, whether you're a teacher, an educator, a health coach, because a lot of these occupations or a lot of these roles that we play as women are secondary to us being a woman first.
Yes.
We
Yes.
are a
Yes.
woman first,
Yes.
first and foremost. And I say that wholeheartedly because when we pick up the slack or we pick up the role of having to take care of another one, whether it's a loved one, a mother, a father, a daughter,
Mm-hmm.
we tend to put ourselves on the back burner.
Yes.
So many people are looking at my pregnancy. I'm 7 months. I'm working out every day. I'm meditating. I'm getting and it's partly because those things keep me sane. They keep me
Right.
healed and they keep me
Yes.
happy. And so
Yes.
just because I'm having a child doesn't mean that I can't do those things. I still
Right.
have to move some pieces around and make it work.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
the number one thing I would say for Black women to continue to elevate themselves is to love yourself.
Yes.
There's just no way, and it sounds so cliche, but there's just no way that we can help other people if we are not first pouring into ourselves.
Yes.
Especially if you're doing a service that is helping other people.
Yes. 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 So true. So true. That's so good. That's so very important in terms of that self-love piece and making time for yourself.
You have
Even with your busy world and your busy life, really giving yourself those moments.
and
I think
and sometimes it doesn't even have to look like oh, I'm gonna go take a bath, and because sometimes when we say self-love, it's like it's got to be this pampering. No,
Right.
perfect example. The other day, I'm cooking for the kids, I'm running around the apartment, I'm trying to do these appointments, I'm booking for my clients. I
Mm-hmm.
realized I hadn't even showered the day, and it was the day. And I looked at my fiance and I said, I'm going to the shower because I
Thank you.
take care of myself. Like, I
That's
have
right.
to do this, right?
That's
Like,
right. That's right.
kitchen is closed, everything is closed. I got
That's
to take
right.
care of myself. And that's
That's right.
you putting your foot down and saying no.
It's
Like,
time for me.
it's time for me to, I gotta clean myself.
Right.
That's what it is.
Exactly. No, that's so true. So it's not even like you're right. And I think that a lot of times when people say self love, and I know one of my other guests also spoke on this too in terms of talking about self love. We often think about it as this pampering. Oh, I'm gonna go get my nails done, or I'm gonna get my pedicure. No, it's just those little things where we often push aside. We push it right down that line. Everybody else goes right in front of it. Then you just say, no, wait, we're gonna move this up here.
Right.
You know
Exactly.
what I mean? And it could just be something basic, but it's taking that time because guess what? You deserve it. You deserve it as a woman, and it helps balance you as the queen that you are.
Yeah. And the interesting part about it is too, is when you start to walk like that with that energy, people know not to step to you.
What?
And to go
What?
like, oh, you don't really have to go on your lunch break right now. Can you just do this? Like, it'll
Right.
take 5 minutes. They'll know not to even come with you with that because
Ex-
you have to take care of yourself, and it's all right for us to do that.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, that's so true. Yeah, you start putting out that energy. All of that, you start embodying. You embody
Right.
it. That's good. I love that. I love that. So, all right. One of my best questions. I love this question because it kind of zones in a little bit too. As an amazing, beautiful queen that you are, and remembering you when you were your little princess self, and now you that queen sitting in front of me, and I'm loving every moment of this interview. What jewels, okay, have been placed in your crown? So we're talking about divinities, sincerity, or any of those like character based. What has been placed in your crown, and what jewels do you hope to add to your crown?
Oh, that's a good one. The first one that comes to mind is confidence in self, like
Mm,
real confidence.
yes.
And from the inside out, I used to be a people pleaser, if
Yes.
I can be honest, like just wanting to please everybody. And now it's just like, well, what are you walking with? What you're walking with is bomb, is fire. And
Mm,
that's the
yes.
confidence and that's the glow that I carry with me as a jewel. The other
Yes.
jewel
Beautiful.
is self-acceptance,
Oh,
because when you're in a music or you're in entertainment industry, everyone's just looking at your headshot. Sometimes they
yes.
don't get to see me dance but if they don't like the look, it's like, oh, okay, well,
Yep.
it doesn't matter.
Right.
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 So learning self-acceptance and knowing
Hmm.
who you are is so powerful. No one can take that away from you once you have it.
Oh, that's
Um,
beautiful.
whew. Another jewel I would say is patience. And I think
Yes.
I haven't been able to really wrap my mind around whether it's living in New York City, but this energy of always feeling like you have to accomplish everything right now.
Oh my goodness. Right.
This energy, this hustle and bustle, this grind, this like
Hmm.
grit.
Right.
It can be very overwhelming and really unhealthy, leading to
Yes. Yes.
stuff.
Yes.
So I would definitely say the patience to know that I am on time with where I am
Yes.
is what's really, really granting me the space to carry that jewel too. That patience,
I
having that
love it.
patience. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Is there any particular jewel that you're looking to acquire for your crown?
Ooh,
What's that next step for you?
my next step is this is a good one. Submission.
Okay, speak. Speak. Talk to
I'm
me.
gonna speak about it. So running Niara Army Fit, Niara Army Fit, my LLC really came out of I really got serious with it, with legalizing it and everything through the pandemic.
Hmm.
And, I was able to scale the business. I was able to do all these things. I was able to, raise a certain amount of money with a certain amount of months. And when I look back at it, yes, I'm very proud of myself and I'm very happy that I was able to do that as a business owner
Hmm.
and as an artist, because then people really didn't know me as an entrepreneur.
Hmm. Hmm.
But I did it by myself and I
Hmm.
was so burnt out. So
Right.
burnt out.
Right.
And I think it's in my nature sometimes to just want to get things done by myself. I would say that I'm a great partner when it comes to collaborating and being in partnership with my fiance. But when it comes to work related things, I notice this in myself. I have a really hard time delegating.
Yes.
And just submitting to like, I need help and I need to see. And I think we as sisters can go a lot further if we work together.
Right. That's beautiful.
Having this fear of like, if I delegate this to this person and they drop the ball, like what's going to happen? So I'm so used to, again, that this like Black woman mentality where we just take on everything.
Yes.
We don't want help a lot of times. So I am in a space where I'm like, I would love to be able to submit and a little bit more and open myself up to that opportunity.
I love that. And I think that's something that as a type A, and I think you're very similar to that way too, that you do so much and you're at the forefront of everything that you do. And it's very difficult to pass it on or to delegate to someone else. But that is a part of submitting to the universe and submitting to, that is the step for you. You know what I mean? So I love that. And you know what? I think I hopefully will be able to talk in a couple of months and know that you have acquired that particular jewel to put into your beautiful crown that you are wearing as a queen. You're just amazing, you know, touching lives in so many different ways. And it's such a pleasure to know you from Darlene on my street.
On the block.
I know. To this young woman, this beautiful queen in front of me, and being able to honor you with this interview and to share your journey with other women, because it's been a blessing. It truly has. And you have so much to share and so many knowledge nuggets to drop off and diamonds, that I appreciate everything. And I appreciate this interview immensely.
Thank you. I really appreciated it too. And, you know, when you contacted me, I was so excited for us to just get on the call and not only talk about, you know, these topics, but to catch up. Because
yes. I know, because we touch a lot on Instagram, on here and there, and we're so busy and we're both, you know, doing our thing and everything. But what a beautiful thing. And I definitely would love to continue this conversation with you, even off camera, and just to be, you know, as you said before, as sisters connecting and being a part of each other's foundation and building from there. I think that, you know, you have so much to offer and so much to share, and I would like to be a part of that with you as well. So again, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. All right.